Welcome to my latest Slayer series video. OSRS is constantly evolving and expanding. That's why it's vital you are checking for any new methods or items that make your Slayer tasks way more efficient, and this series aims to ensure you are always using the latest and most efficient methods. So if you want to be as efficient as possible, stick around for this latest guide. In today's guide, we're going to be tackling Skeletal Wyverns. It's not much of an AFK task, as you're going to be wanting to make sure that you are watching as their attacks can stack you out if you're not paying attention. The tasks are usually really short, and for the time spent you can earn some decent GP, so this task it's always worth doing. So as we said, the Skeletal Wyverns are really worth doing. With a decent setup and some decent stats, we can expect around 800k GP per hour with 42k combat experience, 14k HP experience and around 10.5k Slayer experience all per hour. Obviously, as the tasks tend to be shorter, the actual returns are going to be potentially lower. For stats, in this video we're looking at just melee combat. It's possible to safe spot them, and I've put a link in the description for a safe spotting guide. But for me, it's just easier, more efficient and more fun, I think, to fight them using melee. So we're going to want around at least 75 in all combat stats plus 75 Slayer to actually access them. The only real quest requirement is Elemental Workshop 1 and 2 if you want to use the shields from those quests, which includes the Ancient Wyvern shield. The very basic requirement is to have started Dragon Slayer 1, so you can at least wield a Dragon Fire shield. But to be honest, once you're doing tasks for these sorts of monsters, you should have completed Elemental Workshop 1 and 2 by now. The only location for Skeletal Wyverns is the Asgardian Ice Dungeon. This is located just north of Mudskipper Point. You can either teleport to your player-owned house if it's in Rimington and run southeast, or use the Fairy Ring code AIQ and run north. You can also get to Port Sarim and run south, but the other two options are much quicker. As always, for the loadout and inventory setups, I've exported the information into the description below. Just copy this data and import it into your inventory setup plugin and you'll have my exact same setups. So our first base setup is going to include the Slayer Helm, Mythical Cape, Amulet of Glory, a Blessing, the Abyssal Whip, Darek's Plate Body, Elemental Shield, Varak's Skirt, Rune Gloves, Dragon Boots and a Brimstone Ring. With this setup, you should expect an average time to kill of around 44 seconds and a DPS output of 4.8. In our medium setup, we are upgrading to a Fire Cape, Amulet of Fury, Abyssal Tentacle, Bandos Tassets and Chestplate, Barrow's Gloves, an imbued Berserker Ring, a Mind Shield, and this gives us an expected time to kill of 37.6 seconds and a DPS output of 5.7. This is a DPS performance increase of 18.7% and a time to kill decrease of 14%. And in our high setup, we have upgraded the Amulet of Torture, the Dragon Hunter Lance, make sure that's on pound, the Ferocious Gloves, Primordial Boots. This is giving us an increase of 19% in DPS to 6.78 and a time to kill decrease of 15% at 31.9 seconds. Obviously, it's up to you to determine if the value of the gear is worth the actual increase, and feel free to mix and match the setups as required. Our inventory is fairly simple. We are taking 1 super combat potion and around 5 prayer potions, an emergency teleport, and the rest is high food. Again, feel free to play around with these for what suits you, what's the most efficient for you. So onto the mechanics. Skeletal Wyverns, they've got high defense, high attack and high hit points. So it's not an AFK task, but it is simple. So we're going to be praying melee while we're using melee. The Wyverns, they're going to attack with melee range, and they've got a special attack, which is called the Ice Breath attack. Melee is only used when you're standing next to them or in melee distance. It can hit up to 15, so you just got to be aware of that. They've got a ranged attack which can attack up to 6 tiles away, and it can hit up to 13. The main attack we want to avoid is their Ice Breath attack. This can hit up to 50 if we're not using the correct shield as we outlined earlier. And during the Ice Breath attack, the player character will be frozen for a few seconds and you're not going to be able to move. Just as a tip, if you can afford the Ancient Wyvern shield, this is going to completely negate the freezing effect completely.
So this is the example kill. So my inventory is very much similar to everything I've recommended. No changes there. The only difference for me is I'm taking a Drayman Staff and Oculus Orb. I just need to get some drone footage, as it's called. So we're going to use Fairy Ring 8 IQ to get there. And we're going to run north once we hit the teleport. So we're going to jump down this trapdoor here. So we'll end up in this little area with muggers and some pirates up ahead. So we run north and east through the hobgoblins. Remember when I used to be so scared of them? And here they are, Skeletal Wyverns. So this top area is actually a Slayer only area. I don't tend to use it just because I don't. Jump into here and you'll become instantly aggroed by these, the Wyverns. So protected from melee. I'm going to put our attack prayers on. Oh, we're going to go, as you can see, they're using the melee attack there. And that's a frozen. You can see you've been frozen there. So when you're frozen, you can't move. As you can see, they're doing the range attack. They're not doing a freeze attack for some reason. So, can't give you an example of that just yet. So there, I've been frozen. Can't move for a few seconds, and eventually I'll get free. So yeah, that's it really. You just got to keep on top of your prayers, and yeah, just make sure you don't die basically. But you should be fine.
Thanks for watching my latest video, and as you may know, I love making informative content for OSRS, and if this is your thing, please do drop a like and a subscribe so you know when my latest video comes out. Thanks. See ya.